Okay, so we are recording and we are here with Michelle. And Michelle, even though we've done a few of these, I just like to start each of our sessions with you explaining to people who you are and what you do, so they have a better understanding once we dig into our topics.
Okay, so the easiest way that I could say it is I am a medium. I am clairvoyant, audiovoyant, clairsentient. I am the voice for those who cannot be heard. So that's,
I love that.
yeah,
Every time you say it, I love it.
I could go on and on, but I think that, I speak for your loved ones on the other side.
Yeah, which is beautiful. And and I'm Melinda. I'm just simply interviewing because that's kind of my expertise. And we are going to speak to Michelle and ask her a lot of questions, and we're going to see where it goes, because every session we have kind of depends on, what's going on.
Right.
So of course I write notes all the time, because I'm like, oh, what does Michelle know about this? What does she know about that? Because of your awareness and because of the information that you get, it's always been fascinating to me to hear the very insightful way you're able to describe the information you get, because the world we live in is very much manipulated by what it takes to survive, right? I feel like we're all in survival, like,
right.
Oh, there's a pandemic. Oh, I have to make a living. Oh, so we're there. We're doing
Right.
this. Where you get your insights and your information from up here,
From
which
the
is
5D.
thank you. And so I think what I'd like to start with today is for you to help us understand, those of us that are doing this and we're feeling like the world feels crazy and we're very stressed out, for someone that is able to get that type of insight, what kind of guidance can you give people when we're feeling all this anxiety with everything that's happening around us?
Okay. The first thing that I would say is that if you're feeling all of that anxiety and that nervousness and that confusion and you don't know which way to go, the best thing for anybody to do is to find a quiet place, go for a walk in the park, put your feet in the water, take a bath, take a shower, just connect with nature. And that will center you, because it's all about, when you're up in the air like that and you're kind of floundering around, it's because you're not grounded.
Yes.
You're not planted in the earth. You're kind of just up in the air, so to speak. So it's important to find what works for you for that grounding mechanism. For me, it's walking in the park and holding onto a tree and hugging it. The expression tree huggers.
Yep.
Well, there's a reason, because it grounds you. What is more rooted in the ground than a tree?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So the energy from that grounds you, it centers you, it brings you back in that moment,
Yes.
So that's what I would suggest.
Yes. And thank you, because, another thing I really want to point out with how you share things is, my impression of this world is we try to make things very complicated, right? Like, well, I can't do this till I do that, and then this, and then that, because we are caught in this cycle of survival. And just simply by going outside and putting your feet on the earth.
Yes. It changes everything. It truly, truly does.
Yeah.
It really does. I living proof.
Yes.
I have to do it all the time.
Yeah.
I have to, and another good way of grounding is listening to, certain meditative musics. Like, there's different frequencies for different, different vibration levels. There's grounding levels. There's, bringing you up to the fifth dimension. There's all kinds of, things that you could go on YouTube and look for different, meditation vibrations that will ground you also.
Yes. And see, and again, everybody can do that.
Yes.
It doesn't matter where you live, what your job is.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can do that. So it's important for people to understand it is not that complicated if you want to ground yourself. It feels complicated because in our heads, we're in this space of what we must do. But if you really do want to catch your breath, what Michelle is sharing is everybody can do this.
breathing meditations, deep breaths, that also brings you back to reality. You know, there's a lot to be said about learning how to breathe properly. You know, the majority of us breathe very shallow.
Yes.
You know, we don't take that time to, you know, breathe in love, release what doesn't serve us, you know. It's just being mindful, really, Melinda. It's not staying in your head of swords.
Yes.
You know, our mind is of the 3D. Our
Yes.
heart is the 5D.
Oh,
So
yeah.
more of listening to this and less of listening to this. Okay.
Yes.
You have to have that balance between your heart and your mind. If you don't, if you're always up in your head, and a lot of people are, and they don't realize that, you know, you have your overthinkers, you have your analytical people, and their mind, they get trapped up in the swords of their mind.
Yes.
You know, and I say swords because for me, visually, in my readings, when I come in contact with an energy that is so trapped in their mind, it's like swords for me. Like I see all these swords going through their processing, and it's so negative.
Yeah.
You know, those swords will kill you.
Yes.
You know, mental illness is caused by a lot of overthinking, controlling. You know, you have to be in control. It's what you're telling yourself that causes all of this upheaval in your life, when it's supposed to be just very simple, basic love, you know. But people complicate it by thinking that there's got to be another way. It just can't be love. There has to be more to this, you know?
Yes.
So they get caught up in those swords in their brain, and it causes more problems. And then it just snowballs, and it becomes this monster that you don't even know how to tackle anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you feel yourself starting to run off like that, that is when you want to grab onto a tree.
Yeah.
You know, in the beginning, not in the end, because you got a long way to climb if you hit that back part, you know?
Right.
So,
and so you're speaking of mental health, which I think is it's always important, but especially now with what's going on with the worldwide pandemic. So we're all connected in a way I don't know that we've ever been connected before because of social media. So with mental health, obviously I know there's doctors and I know there's medicine, and I'm not negating that.
Right.
But what I'm asking you is, for people that are struggling and they say, okay, well, I'll go for a walk or I'll stand on the grass. What other kind of guidance can you give them to try to relax the factors that cause all of these mental health kind of issues, where we're so far up here, it's hard to even know what to do with yourself anymore?
Yeah. The difficult part about that, Melinda, is that everybody has free will.
Yeah.
You know, it's not one specific program for everybody. You know, it's an individual kind of healing process. I view mental illness. Let's talk about a narcissistic spectrum. Okay.
Yes.
You know, you have, and it's huge. You know, it is huge, and it's being revealed more and more every day, how these people operate. It's a spiritual warfare. Mental illness is spiritual warfare for me. That is how I see it when I read. I feel that warfare, good and evil, that the balance is off. Okay. So let's just say, let's use somebody on the low end spectrum of narcissism. Okay. They don't understand what their dis-ease is. And it is a dis-ease within the mind. Okay. So people on the lower end to mid-range don't know that they are carrying narcissism.
Okay.
They don't know it. They don't know that they're hurting people, because they have what they call, they have empathy, but it is cognitive.
Okay.
It is not emotional. It is not core empathy. It
Okay.
is only what they perceive.
Okay.
They know, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
People that have narcissism, and we all have
Of
narcissism, don't
course.
get me wrong, but the majority have a healthy portion of that. That's survival. That is our survival. Okay, our fight or flight.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that. So let's take somebody on the lower end, and they don't know that they are hurting people,
Yeah.
and when it is reflected back upon them, they still don't identify to it.
Yes.
They still don't identify to it. So for me, that is spiritual warfare,
Yeah.
because it is a low vibrating, they are so connected to this 3D world
Yeah.
that everything that evolves around them is connected to this dimension. It is the tangible, it is the physical, it is planning 5 years ahead of time. That is all 3D.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with the spiritual aspect of what we're supposed to be living.
Right.
That sense of peace and freedom. And they struggle. I cry for them because they are so in the dark.
Wow.
And don't know they are.
Wow.
It's devastating.
Yeah.
It truly is devastating. And be doing the work that I do, you want to help them. You want to reveal to them that there is another way, there is a better way. But it's just that they have wired themselves since they were children.
Okay.
They have blocked off that emotional connection to people because of whatever happened to them in a younger age. They had to shut that off to stop being hurt.
Wow.
So they don't have that ability to fully love or fully understand what love is.
Okay.
They only have little concepts of observation of what they think love is.
Yeah.
It's a big struggle. It is a big struggle. And if you are in contact or in range of one, unfortunately, it's devastating to an empath, to a light worker, to a clairvoyant, to a medium, to an intuitive.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because what happens is they take all of your energy.
Yeah.
And they leave you as a shell.
Yeah.
Of who you once were.
Yes. Yeah.
And you constantly have to rebuild.
Yeah.
So, just I would say to anybody that's listening, be very aware. These people, they're not aware because they're so stuck in this 3D world that they're not aware of the pain and suffering that they are causing people who truly and deeply love them.
Right.
And unfortunately, this has gone on since the beginning of time,
Yeah.
And I want to believe that the omnipotent is just going to come down and, just open these people. This great awakening is what I keep hearing. And that's where we're moving into, I do feel that there's going to be a huge awakening. Good. And the people that are on lower to mid-range levels, I truly believe that there's hope.
Good.
I do. I believe, and again, free will, entirely up to them. They have a lot that they have to face in their darkness because they live in the shadows.
Yeah.
They have to come out of the shadows and face the reality.
Yeah.
Face their karma.
Yeah.
That's the only way they'll ever find peace within themselves. They have no peace. They have no sense of peace.
Yeah.
They are constantly fighting the swords in their mind.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. As someone who, in this journey of my life, spent a big amount of time with that type of energy, everything you said, now that I'm on the other side of it,
yes,
speaks to me so clearly because in my mindset, I just kept thinking, well, if I explain to them, or if they, I always thought I could help, but
Right.
well, everybody has their journey, their path, and you can't, my experience was you can't just love it out of them. It
Right.
doesn't matter how
You
much
can't.
you love them. And so it is a very painful journey, but I am here to say it is one you can get on the other side of,
Absolutely.
if you've walked that path. And for people that have had that experience and that are confused by it and start, because I start feeling bad about myself, right? It made me question
Yes.
me. So if there's anybody listening that's had that experience or that's in the middle of this experience, please understand it has nothing to do with who you are.
That's right.
But
It's right.
don't you feel like the darkness is drawn to the light like that?
Absolutely. Like moths to a fire.
Yeah.
It moths to the light. That is because they're craving. They
Yeah.
want it so bad. They want that family. They want that connection, but they just don't know how to do it.
Right.
They don't know how to do it. They don't understand what's going on within themselves.
Right.
And I'm telling you, I grew up my whole life with narcissism.
Yeah.
And I thought that I was above it.
Yeah.
But my first marriage with my oldest son's dad,
Yeah.
nightmare. Okay, nightmare. I thought that I overcame that.
Yeah.
And then I stepped into a different kind of narcissism in another relationship.
Yeah.
And then another different kind of narcissism in another relationship.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. Here I am thinking I battled that one. I battled that one. I'm above it. I'm above it. I'm above it. No, bam, bam, bam. No, you're not.
Yeah.
So I have experienced different types of narcissism.
Mhm.
You have overt, those very loud, out there, boisterous, you can pick them out of a crowd.
Yeah.
It's the covert ones.
Yes.
That you have to be very careful for. Those are the ones that are deeply wounded children, inner children. Their inner child has been deeply, deeply wounded. And those are the ones that don't realize how they are hurting other people. If they are in any kind of a relationship, okay, you are going to be a projection of who they are.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, no matter how you try to educate or talk to these people, they're so stuck in this dimension that they can't grasp what the 5D has for them.
Yes.
So it's really hard, especially when you love somebody deeply. Yes. It can be your own child.
Yes.
And it's painful. It is painful. But at the end of the day, you have to recognize that it isn't you, that you gave everything that you possibly could to these people. And, you have to let them go.
Yeah.
You have to, because it will destroy you. It will destroy you. It will destroy you emotionally, physically, because you become sick.
Yep.
I found out that through my narcissism trail, through my life, this is how I developed lupus.
Okay.
From the stress of all of these relationships.
Yeah.
This past year and a half has revealed a lot to me.
Okay.
It's been other than the COVID, this has been a very painful journey for me. I thought that I was way beyond this at this point in my life, but if you don't keep educating, if you stop educating, you stop evolving. Okay.
Yes.
So, you just got to keep on keeping on, keep filling your soul, your soul. Knowledge is everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
And I appreciate you sharing that, Michelle, because I do believe the misconception for people that are intuitive or that have the ability to speak to spirits have the impression of like, well, oh, they know everything. Oh, they know, you know, I'm sure you've heard every joke in the book of like, did you know I was going to call? You know, all of the things. So I would like for you, if there's a way we can do this, to break down for people that are listening that you're still a human being. You know, you're still living your life. You don't walk around with every answer coming before you, right? I mean, I feel like from hearing other people speak that they believe that people that are intuitive are just sitting around in a glow of light waiting to answer all the questions.
No, it's actually the opposite of that, Melinda. It's you know, we live a very painful life.
Yeah.
You know, because we feel other people's pains, their emotions, their, you know, the devastation. So we are in constant spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
You know, keep trying to keep that balance.
Yeah.
You know, and I can only speak for myself. And, you know, my journey has not been an easy road. It has not, you know, it just hasn't. And I'm looking forward to the day where it's going to be okay, you know, that I'm going to wake up every morning. And I mean, I am grateful every morning.
Sure.
But when your heart is aches.
Yes.
For the love, that divine love that, you know, and it's for everybody. You know, we all ache for that divine love.
Yeah.
You know, the purest of love.
Yes.
So for intuitives, I will speak for myself that this has been a very hard, lonely journey to do the work of the divine.
Yeah.
Truly has.
Yeah,
and I know in the end I will be rewarded for all of this, you know. But it's been hard. It's been hard.
I wondered about that, Michelle, for people that, you know, have the ability to hear from the other side. When are you able to like shut it off so you can, you know, I guess for people that are watching, I'd like for them to understand the truth of what a real intuitive goes through, as far as clearly when you're when you have clients, you've got to open yourself up and you've got to listen to things, and then you're giving all of that energy, which energy is everything for any doubters. Energy.
Yes, energy.
Energy. So how do you on a daily basis, clearly you want to be thankful and grateful, but then how do you run your day where you're not constantly, you know, getting tapped into or having spirits want to speak to you when you're just trying to maybe just have your morning coffee or something? How does it work?
It's a matter of being mindful.
Okay.
It's being in the moment.
Okay.
It's discerning. It's discerning the energies. And how do I explain this?
For some reason, I lost you on the screen there.
Oh,
there you are.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
How do I explain this? It doesn't stop.
Okay.
It doesn't stop.
Okay.
It's just a matter of, and it's not about controlling it either. It's a matter of having the conversation with the energies that are coming towards you, and you asking them to give you a minute, or, you know, usually they show up before my clients.
Okay.
So I have to, you know, have a conversation with spirit and tell them, you know, the appointment's in an hour. I need this time to meditate, get myself together, so I'm better able to deliver your message.
Yeah.
And, you know, it all depends on the light worker. It's an individual kind of thing. Okay. But for me, it's a matter of me saying, hey, I need some time, you know, and then they'll leave me alone. Yeah. They'll leave me alone. But that came with years and years and years of going through this to finally figure out. It's like any job. Yeah. You know, you have to practice repetitiveness, you know, to get it right.
Right.
So it's the same thing. There's so many things to learn, so many levels to understand. We're constantly vibrating at different energy levels.
Yeah.
So it's difficult.
I bet. No,
It's
I bet
difficult.
it is because trying to most people we're born, we're grown up, and we learn and behave like what our parents, what our peers, what everybody, and from my understanding, at least here in the United States, because this is where I live, is that it was never encouraged in my lifetime to pay attention to anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever I would have small moments of an intuition, or if someone
Right.
felt bad to me, it was always discouraged, right? Like,
Right.
yeah, you
Right.
go ahead. Yes, sit on grandpa's lap, things like
Right. Even though you were uncomfortable doing it.
yes,
Because you knew there was something off with that person
yes,
or that energy, so to speak.
yes. And so in this world, since our world right now has not been woken up to, hey, there's great power in paying attention to your intuition.
Mhm.
How would you recommend, and I know free will and we all make choices, but how would you recommend for people that are listening to you going, oh my gosh, that's what that is? I had no idea. Because I would
Mhm.
imagine if you've never been encouraged to listen, you would feel like you're crazy because we're not encouraging that.
Right.
You spoke earlier, Michelle, about, learning, always learn, always teach yourself. Is there a way you could guide people to resources, or what do you recommend where if people are listening saying, I want to know more about this, I want to understand, what would you tell them as far as like a helpful way to learn along the way in this?
It is our birthright. Intuition is, we come pre-wired. Okay.
Okay.
I guess I could say that because we're energy, so we come pre-wired. So when we come to this earth, when we chose to come here, we already have all of these intuitive gifts within our little being.
Okay.
It's not tarnished, it's pure,
Mhm.
right? You're
Yeah.
born into pureness, right?
Yeah.
Not damaged, no harm. So that's why children are so in tuned, because they haven't been damaged by the outside world. Okay. That's why it's so important for parents not to squash their children's light. Encourage it.
Yeah.
If your child comes up to you and says, I was talking to grandpa and grandpa passed away 5 years ago, you bet your booty that he's talking to grandpa. You know what I mean? Don't discourage that. Encourage it. What did grandpa have to say? Because there is a message behind it.
Yeah.
And spirit gravitates towards children because of their innocence.
Yeah.
And they know that the message will not be tarnished. It's going to come out the way that it needs to come out.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. As far as somebody that wants to heighten their intuition or know what their intuition is, I will say this to you. I don't care who you are, even a narcissist on the lower end, they have some sense of that doesn't feel quite right,
Yeah.
But the ego gets in the way.
Yeah.
And they'll push it away. Okay. The best thing that I can say is to heighten your intuition is to let that ego go.
Yeah, that's
the
hard.
ego destroys the soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the answer.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense, but the world we live in really promotes the ego. And so
I know it does. It's sad. It's sad because in the end, the ego is nothing but it defeats the purpose of peace and love.
Yeah.
It truly does. The
Yeah.
ego is the last thing to die. It is the last thing to go. It's funny. I with my clients and I'm reading them. Like this morning, this one woman, her dad had passed, and he came across to me as a very stubborn, stern, old school, just
Okay. Yeah.
And he said to me, please tell her I'm sorry that, you know, my ego and pride got in the way of our relationship. And this is a father talking to his daughter.
Yeah.
Because he had that mentality that more is better.
Yeah.
Bigger is better.
Yeah.
You know? So he put his business in front of his children.
Yeah.
And his wife, you know, that was more important to him than his family. And he through this reading, and I'm using this as an example, so maybe it will click for other people.
Yeah.
But in the reading, he said that, you know, he thought that he was doing right by his family.
Right.
Being a provider.
Right.
But that's how he was bred. That's how he was brought up. And now he sees it in a whole different light, because they would have been so much more abundant in love than in a monetary way, you know? So the ego really does a lot of damage. As far if you're on a spiritual journey, the ego has to go. It has to. And I'm not saying totally go, because we all need that to survive. You know, we all need our ego to survive, a little bit of ego.
Right.
So you have to have, again, the balance.
Yeah.
But the ego is what will defer your intuitiveness, because it will tell you, oh no, that's not what you're feeling. You know, that's a good person, even though your body is vibrating, telling you, no, that is not a good person. The ego's like, give it a shot. It'll be okay.
Yes.
Right. The ego avoids the ego will push away red flags. The red flags is the universe. Hunches are our hounds of heaven.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, you know, these red flags, and the ego is saying, oh no, just ignore that. That means absolutely nothing. When your soul is telling you, you need to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Okay. I got myself in so many uncomfortable situations in relationships because I ignored the red flags from the very beginning, thinking that I was going to change this person.
Yep.
We're all guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. So maybe this will bring to the attention of people that are watching that you really truly need to listen to your body, listen to your soul, listen to that it's a vibration.
Yes.
It's not even a hearing. It's a vibration that goes through your body when it's wrong. You know it's wrong.
That's so true. And that's a good way to wrap this, because I know we're trying to stay to 30 minutes, is to remind people, we've talked during this session about grounding yourself.
Yes.
Taking a breath, listening to your body. And every one of these things that Michelle's talking about costs no money.
That's right.
You can do it yourself. It doesn't matter where you live. You can do it yourself. So that means if you live in the city like I do and you're surrounded by cement, find a little patch of grass. I have trees outside, you know.
That's right. That's right.
I can do that. And listening to yourself, because the world we live in really does try to flip that around and convince you that your feelings are not nearly as important as what's going on up here.
That's right. The feeling is more important than what's going on up here.
And that's a beautiful way to end. So we want to remind everyone to please like and subscribe, because that's what will keep us going. We want to share this information. The reason Michelle and I are speaking like this is because, you know, Michelle's been called upon to share information so people can learn, so people can hopefully recognize something in themselves, and that this is just a way to open doors to people that have maybe not had the opportunity to have good people around them to say, to yourself.
Mhm.
That's what Michelle and I are here for. So we want to thank everyone for listening. But while you're still listening, please like and subscribe, and we will be back. We're going to try to post a couple of these a week, but let your friends know. Encourage anybody that you think is like-minded or that could even use this, because we're not selling anything. We're just trying to open doors so people might hear something and go, yes, thank you.
Yes,
I'm
that
going
click.
to try that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yes.
thank you guys so much, and we will see you next time.